So I guess there's a shooting. Someone went and shot a Republican congressman today. The speaker, or is it the majority whip, Solis, and apparently the shooter was a Bernie Sanders supporter and Democrat, and watched a lot of left-wing news media and stuff like that. So, yeah. What are we gonna? I mean, I've been thinking about this all day and thinking about how I would respond and such. And I'd say there's a lot of anger, rage, and blame going around, and I'm not going to do that. I'm just going to say this unequivocally. No one else is responsible for this. The only one responsible for this is the man who pulled the trigger. He was clearly deranged. He was clearly amped up by rhetoric. But he pulled the trigger. It's his fault. Rachel Maddow is not responsible for this shooting. No one on the left, the mainstream media, is not responsible for this violence. Just the shooter. And he's dead. He got his. Good riddance. So, yeah. That's it. No one else is responsible for this. And before the right wing goes on a tirade, mostly more the alt-right goes on a tirade on the left, think very carefully on who you blame, because it would be apt for you to go back and look at history on what happened when Gabby Giffords was shot. Now, that was not a political shooting, but that didn't stop the mainstream media and the Democrats from blaming the Tea Party and Sarah Palin for that shooting and calling for gun control. Glenn Beck was not responsible for that shooting. Rush Limbaugh was not responsible for that shooting. Sean Hannity wasn't responsible for that shooting. Sarah Palin wasn't responsible for that shooting. No one else was responsible for that shooting. The man was deranged. Same as this man. So, yeah. Now, we can have a talk about the mainstream media and about their rhetoric surrounding the Russia thing and hysteria over Trump and basically scaring people into believing that Trump needs to be stopped. We can talk about that, but that's more of a soul-searching thing for the media. You guys, you need to just tone it down a bit. Just tone it down. You know, you got 4 years. You can nominate a good person next time and run against Trump and get him out of there. That's the way it's supposed to work. You know, you need to stop getting people so worked up and worrying them and causing fear. So this is just maybe more of and this goes for the left and the right media. The right wing needs to kind of tone it down a bit. The left wing needs to tone it down a bit and just say, calm down. We need to stop the blame game. The only one responsible for this was the shooter. That's it. Thoughts and prayers are with the victims of the shooting. Thank God nobody died yet, except for the shooter, except for him. But we don't care because he got his. Yeah. And political violence is not acceptable for anybody, against anybody. Period. Now, one might say, you could make a case that people that are saying it's okay to punch a Nazi because we fought Nazis in World War II and they're our enemies, and we can institute some sort of vigilante justice on them. And yeah, okay, fine. And that has happened, and Antifa has taken up, but and I'm just wondering when Antifa is actually going to be violent. Now, the despicable tweets from people on the left celebrating the shooting of a Republican congressman, that really angers me. Someone, this person said, one down, 215 to go. Well, that sounds like a threat, sir. I know there's a lot of emotion happening right now, and people on the left are angry, but you need to control your emotions, okay? Calm down. America is a republic. You get to vote again in 4 years. Calm down. Donald Trump gets to do whatever he wants because he's in power until you get him out in the next election. He's not going to be impeached because he hasn't done anything illegal that can be proven yet. He's not going to suddenly just resign because there's some sort of accusations, unproven accusations. You're not allowed to forcefully remove him. That is called a coup, and that leads to dictatorship. You're not allowed to do that. America's a republic. So, you know what? You just have to wait. You have to get along now. You're in the minority. You have no power in government besides the bureaucracies and the culture. But, the pushback is happening in the culture and the universities too. We're not putting up with the progressive crap anymore. And here I am rambling on here, but this is kind of a rambling rant on politics. But basically, the crux of the matter is political violence is unacceptable on either side. If it was the right that went up and shot up a bunch of Democrat congressmen, it would be just as bad. If it was like an Alex Jones listener or whatever. So yeah, no one was responsible for this but the man who pulled the trigger. Can't say that enough. It's his fault. He's dead. He got his. Done.
Here's President Trump.
As you all know, shortly after 7 a.m. this morning, a gunman opened fire on members of Congress and their staffs as they were practicing for tomorrow's annual charity baseball game. Authorities are continuing to investigate the crime, and the assailant has now died from his injuries. The FBI is leading the investigation and will continue to provide updates as new information becomes available. Congressman Steve Scalise, a member of House leadership, was shot and badly wounded and is now in stable condition at the hospital, along with two very courageous Capitol Police officers. At least two others were also wounded. Many lives would have been lost if not for the heroic actions of the two Capitol Police officers who took down the gunman despite sustaining gunshot wounds during a very, very brutal assault. Melania and I are grateful for their heroism and praying for the swift recovery of all victims. Congressman Scalise is a friend, and a very good friend. He's a patriot, and he's a fighter. He will recover from this assault. And Steve, I want you to know that you have the prayers not only of the entire city behind you, but of an entire nation and, frankly, the entire world. America is praying for you, and America is praying for all of the victims of this terrible shooting. I spoke with Steve's wife, Jennifer, and I pledged to her our full and absolute support, anything she needs. We're with her and with the entire Scalise family. I have also spoken with Chief Matthew Verderosa. He's doing a fantastic job of the Capitol Police, to express our sympathies for his wounded officers and to express my admiration for their courage. Our brave Capitol Police perform a challenging job with incredible skill, and their sacrifice makes democracy possible. We also commend the brave first responders from Alexandria Police Fire and Rescue who rushed to the scene. Everyone on that field is a public servant. Our courageous police, our congressional aides who work so tirelessly behind the scenes with enormous devotion, and our dedicated members of Congress who represent our people. We may have our differences, but we do well in times like these to remember that everyone who serves in our nation's capital is here because, above all, they love our country. We can all agree that we are blessed to be Americans, that our children deserve to grow up in a nation of safety and peace, and that we are strongest when we are unified and when we work together for the common good. Please take a moment today to cherish those you love, and always remember those who serve and keep us safe. God bless them all. God bless you. And God bless America.
Shiny light on